I knew what profit and loss was. I knew how to make money, where to make money, and how to treat your people, not how to treat your people. You're 40 years old and you get told, why am I feeling so bad? And they said, well, you got a bad heart valve. I had a blood infection, and then it caused me to have a bone infection in my foot. Life's going to knock you down.
Yeah.
You just get back up and you keep going.
Welcome to the Biz Life Podcast. I am Donnie Bedore, your host. We are here to talk about the business life, not the busy life. So I have a very special guest here. You're going to love him. His name is James Alexander. He's one of my dear friends and actually neighbor. And James, welcome to the Biz Life.
Hey, thank you for having me on, Donnie.
Heck yeah. So you're a big fan of the Biz Life. Been listening to it for quite some time now.
Yeah, I've been watching it over and over and over.
Nice.
Watching all the new businesses and what everybody talks about.
Love it. Love it. Well, I know a lot about you, but the audience may not. So let's go ahead and dive into a little bit about yourself, right? Tell us work, history, and, personal, family, things like that.
Gotcha. Well, as you know, about 2 years ago, I was diagnosed with a bad heart valve.
Okay.
It was my aortic valve, the big one. When we found out I had to have open heart surgery, we're like, oh, that's going to be crushing. It's a lot to go through for my kids and my wife and everything.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 43.
43 and married to Robin.
To Robin, yes.
How long have you been married?
We're going on 26. She can have fact trick me, but it's probably about 26, 27 years, something like that. Yeah.
I understand. It feels like 2 years, right?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, I'd say we're probably together 26 years, married 15, 16, something like that.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah. And 2 kids.
2 kids,
Yep.
Paxton and Grace. Grace is 10, Paxton's 12.
Great. And so open heart surgery.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big deal.
It is, especially when you're 40 years old and you get told, why am I feeling so bad? And they said, well, you got a bad heart valve.
Dang.
And so we got that fixed and we were great. And 1 year later to the day, December 7th, and it was December 13th, I had my first heart surgery. And 1 year later, I had a second valve go bad.
So is it the one, did they replace a valve first time?
Yeah, they replaced it. So I don't have a pig valve. I have a mechanical valve. So I have to have blood thinners for me to make sure nothing clots it. So 1 year later, we found out my mitral valve was now sticking and broken. So I had to have a second open heart surgery, which was during Christmas time. And my kids had Christmas going, and second time in a row.
Yeah.
That one was supposed to be just to kind of like a tune-up check, get it in there, done, we're good to go. Well, turns out when I was in the hospital, I ended up having a lung injury, caused my lungs to fill up with fluid.
Goodness.
So they had to prawn me and flip me every so often, and they had to drain my lungs all the time, and I was on a ventilator.
Okay.
And for a long time, they said usually some people don't come off of those.
Dang.
But I did. I came off of it and I came through pretty quickly. And I told you about my story, what I learned during that time.
Yeah.
Really drove my faith big time during that part.
Can imagine.
And not long after that, we found out I had a blood infection, and then it caused me to have a bone infection in my foot. And we were with another big decision. My foot doctor says, look, I can rebuild it. It'll take you over a year to recover.
Yeah.
Or we can take it, and it'll take you 2 months, and you'll be on a prosthetic and back to work. And so we mulled it over for a couple of days, and I told my wife, I said, I can't put you all through that. I'm gonna go ahead and do it and save my life. He said, because if you don't, we could have another infection of the heart problem because of it.
Yeah.
So we made that decision, and man, I will tell you, I woke up from that surgery. I was laughing, giggling. I told Robin to come get me, and she was like, I can't believe you just had this, and you seem like you're happy.
Yeah.
I said, well, it was my decision. Some people don't get to make that decision.
Wow. Yeah. True story.
Yeah.
Man. Shoot. Many of us business owners, right? We've had some pretty rotten days, right? But I've never, you don't think about that until you have someone sitting in front of you of having, double open heart surgery and losing a leg.
Yeah.
Knee down, correct?
Yeah. It's below the knee.
Yeah. Knee down.
Yeah.
Man. It's inspiring, dude. You're inspiring.
Thank you. Yeah. There's a lot of my doctors say I'm a book of health knowledge now that they never knew existed until they treated me.
Yeah.
So I love it. I go in and see all my doctors. I'm doing fine now. Everything seems to be up and up.
Good.
But I would thank my family and my team for my business. I mean, I had this business and it ran while I was in the hospital because of my guys.
Really?
Yeah, they really took it over. And my wife, Robin, was like the coordinator, going after it. And then my main guy, he ran it. I mean, he took the ball and ran it and made sure everything happened while I was out both times.
Yeah. Dang. And that's really, for me, that's like an end goal or a goal for business, or it should be, right? Where you could step out. I mean, hopefully not, double heart surgery and, amputation on your leg. But if you wanted to step out for vacation or just step out, that the business can run itself.
Right.
Right. There's a book Robert Kiyosaki wrote. It's Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Poor Dad, Rich Dad, one of the two. And it talked about the quadrant. So on one quadrant, you're an employee on the left side. And then below that, you're self-employed. And then the top right, you're a business owner. And then the bottom right is you're an investor.
Yeah.
Right. And so the leap from one side to the other side is really the time where, or the leap that I stopped trading my time for money. Right. I'm trading someone else's time for money, or I'm trading money for money.
Right.
Right. And so to get your business from whenever it started to get it to where, hey, the business can run itself should be a goal for most business owners.
Right.
Some may never want to get to that. Maybe they just love what they're doing. They're like, you know what? I'm never going to leave this office. I love what I'm doing and everything. So I would want to transition into talking about the business.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
So what do you do in business?
Gotcha. So I own a property maintenance and construction company. So we service well over about 1,000 properties throughout DFW. So we run all the maintenance for them. Any tenant has any issue, toilet clogged, we go unclog it.
Sure.
And then I have investors I work for, which they come from California all over, and they buy properties here in Texas, and they're in disrepair.
Okay.
And they hire me to come in and rebuild them, make them like new again, and then they rent them out or they sell them.
Okay.
So that business is usually about 75, 25, right around there. Most of my maintenance keeps everybody rolling and paid and fed through the year.
Yeah.
And then the big jobs come, sprinkle in here and there and keep it going that way.
More residential type businesses?
Yes. I would say it's probably about 70% residential. I do commercial.
Okay.
There's some stuff I just can't do in commercial because I'm not licensed in some of that stuff.
Sure.
But we still can, flooring, painting, sheetrock repair, office building, I just can't get into the electrical components or stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally understand.
Yeah.
So, and how long have you been doing that?
I have been doing this particular role in owning my own business for about 8 years. Prior to that, I was at Home Depot for 17 years. I was a store manager at Home Depot.
Oh, nice.
So I had 200 employees under me. So I already had gotten a wealth of knowledge of management. I went to Home Depot School of Business 101. I mean, they paid to teach you how to run a business. They wanted to make sure you ran it well.
Yeah.
And so I knew what profit and loss was. I knew how to make money, where to make money, and how to treat your people, not how to treat your people. And that was more my decision. I wanted to manage people with, respect and get them to be happy at where they were versus, putting the hammer down and forcing you to do it. Because then unhappy people make unhappy customers.
True story.
And so my guys, I keep them happy. So when they go on a job site, they're yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I'll cover my shoes. I take my shoes off. They treat them as if it's their home, even though it's not, but you need to make them feel like it. They're still our customer, even though the owner is my customer as well.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, I find that interesting that you had worked at Home Depot, for so many years. And I sort of have the same background as well, not Home Depot, but another company, right? I worked for a corporate, a corporation for a lot of my upbringing, and that's how I learned a lot in business, right? And so many people think, okay, well, I'm young, I want to jump into a business, but it's like, look, I definitely think it's good to cut your teeth on.
It is.
Learning
it is
business first before you jump out there and you're fully invested. And
it's a little easier to let somebody else pay for the mistake you made first.
True.
And then when it comes out of your own pocket, it's a little harder.
A lot harder.
It is.
Yeah.
But I love that company. I bled orange for many years.
Oh, they taught me. Company.
They taught me a lot of things.
Yeah.
So I owe a lot of my business success to them and what I learned throughout the years.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for those who are watching, thank you for tuning in. Again, Donnie Bedore, your host here. And what we would like is for you to like, subscribe, and share out. It really does help the algorithm and helps us grow this channel. So thank y'all for watching. And let's just dive in. So as far as the business goes, right, what would you say your greatest struggle has been in business? What aspect of business do you feel like, you struggle with the most, do you think?
Believe it or not, Donnie, when I was talking about this with my wife, and I had been so focused on building the business and I saw a need and I filled it. But what I didn't do is I didn't get really good about marketing myself. So I think I fell short there. All my stuff was word of mouth, but I do think I can grow the business if I market more. And I think that's one of my things I struggle with. I'm not really good at marketing, but I can sell all day long. My work speaks for itself. My guys speak for themselves.
Yeah.
But getting it out there is a little overwhelming.
Yeah, and I definitely find that a lot, especially, if you have like one location, right? You can almost get lost in all the, stuff out there, right? Especially, with digital marketing and everything else, right? There's so many different avenues when it comes to marketing.
Right.
And so that is a challenge.
Yeah,
that is a challenge, right? One thing that I have learned in business is really when it comes down to marketing, right? There's the difference between like brand and marketing. Brand is what people say about you and about your brand, right? Marketing is the story that you're going to tell them about yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So when it comes to marketing, a good piece of advice that I always like to give is, especially for you in the construction or the, fixing things and stuff like that, there's challenges every day.
Yeah.
Right. There's absolutely challenges every day. I don't know if you remember, there was an episode early on, it may have been like episode 4 or 5. I interviewed a couple that sell around the world, and they're called We Sell. That's their YouTube channel. And Warren is the guy, the husband. He was in construction up in Colorado before he sold his business and decided to buy a sailboat and go around the world. Right. And I was talking to him about, just videoing and things. And I was like, man, if you knew now about YouTube and video content, video creation, and you knew this back then, whenever you were fixing houses and building houses and stuff like that, how would that change? And he's like, you know what? He said, that's a great question. I probably would record just about everything that we did.
Right.
Everything that we did, we would record, and I would put it into a little episode and throw it out there.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many people will sit there and want to watch
the transformation.
Right? I mean, what are some of the shows that were out that talked about that, right? The before and after shows and things like that were super popular.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The Gaines, they did that, Chip and Gaines, where they were married and he was a realtor, but he also did the construction.
Right. What's the name of that? Hey, if y'all know the name of that, comment below. I totally forget. Yeah. Chip and, anyway, comment below.
I forget her name. Joanna. That's right. Joanna. Yeah.
Now they're not going to comment, Taylor. Thanks a lot. There you go. We bleeped it out.
Right. But it is, anyway, but exactly right. Like I told you, I bought my GoPro and I really should use it because, I've gotten a lot of feedback. Would be like, hey, if you walked through before and afters, and I have tremendous before and afters of properties, and that would probably go a long way. And I just need to figure out how to upload them and get them put together.
Yeah. I may know a guy. Yeah. Taylor, do you know anybody that does video creation?
Perhaps.
Well,
I might know a guy.
Right. I have to do some videos and
Yeah.
Talk to him later.
Yeah, but and something like that, right? And now you're telling your story.
Right.
Right. You're telling your story. People get to know who you are. And that's one reason why on this show, whenever I have someone come in, I always start with telling us about yourself, right? Yeah. Because people buy from who they like.
Right.
And if they know about you, they're connected with you, then they're going to do more business with you.
Right.
Versus some other guy that I just see an ad, I have no idea who that owner is versus, and that's for me, that's one of the greatest things about a small business is they get to deal with you.
It's face to face,
right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the greatest marketing tool that we have, right?
Yeah. And it is, in my industry is hard because, there's contractors out there in every industry. There's somebody out there that's not doing it right.
Sure.
They're taking advantage of and running on. And I run into that a lot, but I try to make sure that I make them feel as comfortable as possible. You have a stake in the game. I have a stake in the game.
Yep.
And ultimately, my business thrives on your word of mouth.
Darn straight.
And
right?
so from start to finish, it's got to be great, and that's how I sell it. And it gets the ball moving, but you wouldn't believe how so many people are so like pulled back and real weary of you when you come to put an estimate together on somebody's house.
Yeah.
Because they don't know if you're going to take their money and run or what's going on. So I pride myself on my moral compass is not to do that. If it's wrong and it's on me, we're fixing it.
Yeah.
That it's just the way it's got to be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. So they come away with knowing that I'm doing a good job and they get a good product.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to stay, and they can call me a year later and be like, hey, I don't know what happened. Or, hey, I want some more stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Need some more stuff done.
Yeah, for sure. So let me go back to the amputation.
Yes.
Right. I mean, it's pretty mind blowing that, even what Robin, your wife, said about, I can't believe that you're in this state of mind after you just lost your leg. I mean, I'm pretty attached to most things in my life, especially my limbs.
Yeah.
Right.
You wouldn't believe. Yeah.
Yeah. And then learning how to walk again, learning how to do all this again. Man, how do you go from just having that devastation to, you know what, life's amazing and let's run?
It is a hard switch to turn.
Yeah.
Back, I'd say when I was younger, that switch was real hard to turn. Things could be negative real quickly. But this was my choice and I prayed about it and something came over to me and says, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
This is the right decision.
Yep.
And when I made that decision, I made the decision that it was going to be okay no matter what I did. And there wasn't going to be anything to stop me. Now things are harder. Trust me, going up a ladder is a lot harder on one 1.5 leg than it is 2.
Yeah.
But I can do it. And you can ask my guys, they catch me on a ladder all the time and they're yelling at me, get down. I'm on a job site all the time. I'm walking around rubble. I'm driving my truck. I'm hooking up trailers.
Yeah.
There is nothing you can't do unless you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a mind thing. You change your mind, you can do it.
Yeah.
It's hard. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes I get up, I'm like, I got to put this thing on and wrestle through the day. But once I get going, it's like it's not even there anymore.
Yeah.
Most people don't even see it anymore. And so I put a bright blue rod on it this time because I want people to see it. Before I was like, let's hide it. Now I'm like, no, I'm good.
I have another guy that I know. His name's Scott, and he's one of our karate dads.
Yeah.
You may have met him, I think, whenever you were up at the school.
Yeah. I did.
A leg prosthetic. Thank you. Anyway, so he actually put a TXBBA sticker on it, so that way he can say he has a tattoo.
Yeah, right.
It's funny guy.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that. I love it. One, that's the thing I think is harder for me than some people that grow up without a limb, is that's all they've ever known. So I knew what life was like with 2 legs, and I see people running, jumping, and doing karate and all that stuff, and I think, man, that isn't impossible. I could do it. It's going to be harder for me, but I can do it. And my biggest thing is to show my kids that life's going to knock you down.
Yeah.
You just get back up and you keep going.
Man, I couldn't imagine, 10, 15, 20 years from now, what the impact that you are going to have, and your wife as well, right? Both of y'all are going to have on your kids because they've seen you walk through these struggles.
Killing the generational curses is what I want for them.
Completely.
I want them to know that life is hard, but if you can stand back up
Yeah.
and get going again, you're going to make it through anything.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah. And then so you take those challenges that you've gone through, right? And then next Monday you have someone that, or an employee that breaks something or just a problem that you have to deal with.
Right.
Now you're like,
yeah. Yeah. My guys are like, you're not mad. I'm like, well, it happens, man. We'll just get on with it and keep going. Yeah. They're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, and it's special for my kids. And that was my biggest thing, through all of this is I want them to see, I want to be their role model where my dad got knocked down so many times and he got back up and he kept going and he kept going. And so if he can do it, I can do it.
Absolutely. And
that was my biggest thing.
Yeah.
I wanted them to know that there's things like this don't stop you from living.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Yeah.
And to me, again, that's such an inspirational story.
Yeah.
That, our listeners, either watching or listening, they're like, wow, man, this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
And you're an amazing dude. And I'm so honored to have you as a friend.
Well, thank you very much. I don't feel amazing, but I feel like there are so many amazing people around me. When I got sick, there was so much of our community in our neighborhood.
Yeah, sure.
That came together for my family and myself, you included. I mean, you came to the hospital and seen me there. Yeah. So those are the people that are inspiring to me. People that no matter what's going on, they stop what they're doing just to help out somebody in need.
Yeah. Hey, for those listening or watching, here's what I'd like for you to do. I want you to comment someone's name down below that you feel has inspired you, some form or fashion, and then honor them than that.
Yeah.
Right. I think as we, everybody looks at the world and like, oh, there's so much wrong with the world. It's getting worse. It's getting worse. Right. And sure, if you're looking at those things. Right. And when you stop looking at those things and you look at more of this stuff and you say, man, the world's an amazing place.
And it gets brighter.
And brighter and brighter and brighter.
Mm-hmm.
It really does, and you listen to people's stories and the things that they've gone through and man, the challenges that they've overcome. It's so freaking inspiring.
And you can't do it all yourself. I mean,
of course not.
There's people out there that help. I mean, counseling helped me a lot through a lot of my trauma with, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Taught me to think about things differently, and friends that I've looked at and seen how they've done things and learned that way. You don't have to be alone.
No.
You don't have to be alone in anything.
Right. True.
There's people out there that'll sit right beside you and say, all right, we can go together. Let's go.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do this. Let's switch gears.
Okay.
No pun intended. Tell us something. Thank you. Tell us something that maybe not many people know about you.
So I am a big avid drag racer.
Okay.
And I build hot rods, and I still do to this day, even with my one leg. As a matter of fact, I was just out at the track racing Sunday, one-legged, and all the guys out there that saw me couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
They're like, you still do this? I said, no, it's not going to stop me from my passion. I love it. I get out, I lay up under my truck. It's not something that stops me, but, I work all day and my family is most important to me, and that's what I work hard for. But
sure.
One thing that people don't know is I do have a very mean, powerful truck at home.
It is pretty mean and powerful.
Right.
Yeah.
And I built it all on my own.
Dang, that's so cool. It's a cool truck. What year is it?
81.
81
Yeah.
C10.
C10.
Yep. What size engine's in it?
It's got a LS in it. It's a 408 stroker.
Yeah.
Pro charged.
We may not be able to share the horsepower.
Yeah, no.
We don't want to share details.
Scare some people.
Just in case. We'll just bleep it all out. Perfect.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
But it's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can. You're several properties away, and whenever you start it up, I'm like, oh yeah, man. Thunderstorms and your truck, man, they rank right up there for me. I love listening to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too. It's one of the most coolest thing. I was telling Robin, I was sitting out the track and I was just by myself, and that's one of my Zen places. It's where I talk to God, and it was where I look at people and just feel blessed that I can be out there through everything I've been through and just sit and watch.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I definitely think the combustible engine is probably one of the greatest inventions ever.
Oh yeah, you've got two of them.
Yeah. So let's go into your business.
Okay.
Sterling Property Maintenance. Yep. And give us a little 30-second spiel about what do you do and how people can get a hold of you and all that.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Well, so my business is based off of property maintenance and construction. If you own a property and you need some maintenance guys, usually some people say handyman, but we're a little step above that. My knowledge is grander than that. My guys' knowledge are grander than that. We can do everything from the foundation to the chimney.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there isn't anything I can't do.
Yeah.
And if I can't do it, I can figure it out.
Sure.
But we do that. We rehab, remodel, we repair, we go out, emergency calls on the weekends. We do it all.
Yeah.
I pretty much wanted to be a one-stop shop for anybody that needed me.
Okay.
So if you had an issue, you called me. Anything with the flooring, you called me. Anything with this, you called me. It was not these property managers were having to call like 6-7 different people.
Sure.
And this person's blaming this person. I was like, no, here, this is my business model. I'm going to be your one-stop shop.
Yeah.
And over the time of my experience at Depot, I've built all these relationships with other vendors. And so that has also what's gotten me through all my hard times, because my vendors took care of me as well.
I gotcha.
It's relationships. But we do a lot of that stuff. We do new construction. We do old construction. We service throughout the DFW area. We even go as far as Saxe to take care of people. So it's no place too far, no job too small, no job too big.
Yeah.
You can get a hold of me. My phone number is 817-201-3387. My email address is sterlingmaintenance1122@gmail.com.
Okay.
Anything you need, you can just email me exactly what you want. I'll set up a time with you. I'll come out, take a look, and I'm not the cheapest man in the world, but by far I'm going to do the best job for you, and I'm going to do it right the first time. I don't want to have to come back up. I want you to be happy with what you get.
Sure. Well, that's great. So what would you say the best referral for you is? Or someone that owns like rental houses that just needs someone to do the maintenance on, or what
the
do you
best
prefer?
Any property management company is really good for me. If you own property, even individual owners, even if you're wanting to rent your house out and you're doing the management yourself, but you don't have anybody to fix it, I will cater to you as well. It doesn't matter if you own your own home and you need something done, door installed, I will come do it.
Yep.
It does. Nothing's too small,
bro. So for those listening or watching, if you follow me, you know about Rover. Rover's our dog, and he is a character. Matter of fact, he has his own Instagram handle.
Oh
yeah, Rover the BJJ dog or something like that. Anyway, so super fun dog, and we had you and your guy came over and installed a back door with a doggy door in it.
Right.
Oh my gosh, it's like, for me, the best way to describe this was my teenager now has a vehicle and a driver's license, and I don't have to take him anywhere.
Right. You're like, where's Rover? He's outside. Oh.
It's the best thing in the world. I mean, It's like he goes outside when he wants, he comes in when he wants, and it's, life is
Well,
good.
I'm glad y'all are happy with it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm glad y'all called me to come down and do it. I was super excited to come do it for you.
Yep.
We got there and I thought, well, I got to tell Donnie the whole door's got to come out. We got to put it
Well, whenever we got it, I was like, well, let me just go ahead and get the whole door just in case.
Right.
And I'm glad I did. Yeah. Worked out perfect. So.
Yeah. Perfect. No, but like I said, there's no job too small.
Yeah.
I have a lot of good buddies and a couple of good friends are licensed electrician, licensed plumber. So if there's anything like that major, they'll go pull a permit and help me work on it. And get stuff done like that. But my whole business model is I'm a one-stop shop. Everything you need for your house, you call me one time. You don't call anybody else, and you call me back if anything else happens.
Yeah. Well, perfect. Well, perfect. Anybody looking for maintenance on your own house, a rental property, anything like that, give James a call. I promise you will not find a better person to work with.
Yes.
And you definitely have the Biz Life's blessing.
Thank you very, very much. Very, very much. Yes.
Love it.
I love it.
Perfect. Well, thank y'all again for watching. We'll see you next time on the Biz Life.